Turning ideas into action. Introduction. The purpose of this educational module is to introduce the concept of strategy gap as an obstacle to the achievement of corporate goals. We'll see the main causes of strategic gap and how it can be possible to overcome some of them. The strategy gap. Long-term goals and short-term budgets often are not connected, but achieving a long-term goal requires a series of logical, achievable, sequential steps. The strategy gap, as this group of missing steps is called, is real and exists within most organisations. This lack of connection is a serious threat for enterprises, both to the future performance and survival. Organisations must plan and start executing that plan today if they expect to achieve their objectives sometime in the future. What causes the strategy gap? The main causes of the strategy gap can be grouped into three areas, each of which interacts with the others. 1. The way management acts to implement strategic initiatives. 2. Traditional processes, e.g. budgeting, forecasting, reporting, used to implement strategy. 3. Technology systems used to support those processes. Management-caused gap. 4 main ways management causes this gap can be the failure to 1. Secure support for the strategic plan. 2. Communicate the strategy. 3. Adhere to the strategic plan. 4. Adapt to significant changes. Processes-caused gap. The strategy gap can also be caused by the processes used to implement the company's strategy that can be 1. Lacking of strategic focus. 2. Too much calendar-based and not change-driven. 3. Too much financially focused. 4. Too much internally focused. 5. Lacking of realistic forecasting. Technology system caused gap. Issues in this field include 1. Fragmented systems, planning, budgeting, forecasting and reporting are treated as separate, disconnected processes and supported by different technology solutions. 2. Misplaced dependence on enterprise resource planning, ERP. Other elements causing the strategic gap. In addition to all the technological causes we have seen, there can be other collateral elements which contribute to the strategic gap. 1. Difficult to change. Most existing management systems do not allow changes to be made easily. 2. Reporting problems. Systems tend to report from one perspective, so it becomes difficult to obtain a detailed analysis of budgets, forecasts and actual results that can result in the approval of unrealistic plans. 3. File management issues. Spreadsheets used to prepare budgets and reporting results, as many other file-based systems, incur in updating and version control issues because multiple files have been maintained, relinked and then redistributed. How to avoid the strategic gap. Chief financial officers and their teams have a key role to avoid the arise of the strategic gap. What actions can actually be implemented by them? 1. To provide systems and processes that allow organisations to implement strategy. 2. To provide business methodologies and system infrastructures to support collaborative strategic planning, budgeting, forecasting, reporting and analysis that is focused on the execution of strategy. 3. To provide systems that can disseminate information to those who need it, when they need it, in a form that makes sense to the user. Conclusion. Having a good idea is the best starting point for setting companies' goals, but taking the right road to achieve them is not easy. How is it possible? The strategic gap is an issue when it comes to putting ideas into practice. We have seen the main causes of it and some actions that can be implemented to overcome difficulties. Chief financial officers and their teams have to act having in mind that the strategy has to be adapted to real context, being aware that companies are complex systems whose elements have to be synergic in order to achieve results.